Today, we're joined by Tina Alexander. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist, a certified diabetes care and education specialist, and the founder of Integra Life. Tina believes that managing diabetes goes far beyond food. It's about understanding how sleep, stress, hydration, and lifestyle all connect to blood sugar control. Tina, thank you again for joining us. And I would love to learn a little bit more about how your passion for nutrition and mental health led you into diabetes care and to the creation of Integra Life.
A little bit of back history on myself. I myself was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which comes with its own risk for type 2 diabetes with insulin resistance. I do have a pretty strong family history of type 2 diabetes already in my mother and my father's sides, and I lost my father at a pretty young age, at the young age of 73, and my mother at 67 with a heart attack. So I have all kinds of risk coming at me left and right. And so after I lost, my parents and just seeing like my own life needing to really come together, I decided to change career paths. Instead of going into, lo and behold, I was going to be an accountant and become a CPA. And I switched gears and went into healthcare and got my nutrition degree and had so many great opportunities come at me as a consultant in different types of environments and inpatient, outpatient, dialysis, lots of things. And through all of these experiences, the one thing that always came to the center of attention was diabetes. It affects so many people, and during my latter career, about 10 years, or I'm sorry, about 8 years ago, I decided to start working for a endocrinology office and trained to become a CDCES, certified diabetes care and education specialist, and actually used that to help create help bring back a diabetes education program out on a Indian reservation, as well as help partner up to build a bariatric program. So the two and two really help to decrease risk of, obesity and diabetes related disorders. And from there, started working on my own path of Integra Life. Had some branding changes in 2024, and when I rebranded, I really wanted to think hard and wanted to make sure that my name and my brand really resonated with how I felt and what my mission was, so that we could stand apart as a diabetes education program here in Arizona. And we do practice in about 29 states now. Um, and and yeah, so we have it's been amazing to have created Integra Life, and really it stands with kind of a triad of working, and it's always practicing with integrity, becoming an always practicing with an integrative approach, and being an integral part of their healthcare team. So that's the way we practice. All of our team knows, like, even if we don't require a referral for a certain insurance, we always want to make sure that uh we're getting in contact with our doctor and opening up that line of communication. So we're not siloing their healthcare. We're working together as a team to make sure that we're optimizing their health.
That's fantastic. And there's so many fantastic things. Congratulations on the rebrand. Being aligned with your mission is so essential. And it sounds like you've really done that very well. So kudos to you all. And I'm kind of curious too. I know I have a little bit of an insider scoop here, but if I'm recalling correct, sleep is a big priority in the clients that you work with. And am I recalling correct that you all start with that? Why is it so essential? How do we work towards improving it? Share all the things.
Well, I'm sure we can all agree there's going to be periods in our time where we just don't sleep very well. And being a certified trauma specialist as well as being a diabetes educator, I really focus on making sure that we're also monitoring mental health. We're looking for any signs of sleep anxiety, sleep deprivation, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all of those things that are going to affect overall health. And like the first comment I make to my patients, I'm like, look, we really need to work on your sleep, because if you're not sleeping well, how in the world am I going to get you to eat more Brussels sprouts and asparagus? You're going to be tired, and you're not really going to care what you put in your body because you're tired. Like, that's just human nature. When we're tired, we're gonna live off caffeine, and we're just gonna do this negative feedback cycle of caffeinating ourselves and then not sleeping because we're caffeinated ourselves, and then we're tired and then we caffeinate ourselves. So it's like stop the madness. Like, let's like record, uh um stop to just try to make sure that we're going through each step and monitoring, looking at sleep hygiene. We make sure that they're not going to bed, blue light, making sure they're not playing on their phones before bed. I'm a really big advocate of like, let's shut down technology 60, 90 minutes before bed, and really think of what those healthy um, opportunities you have to reflect on your day, meditation, deep breathing, to really help bring that heart rate down, to start really winding down that brain. We all work at 150% half the time. And so we have to have time to wind down ourselves in order to get good sleep. And then it's all about sleep timing. We have a lot of people on different shifts, and those individuals that go to bed really late, whether they are gamers or they just like to stay up and watch YouTube videos, those are the ones that typically you're going to see really high rates of fatigue and sleep deprivation, because they are not getting that deep sleep that you get at the beginning of the night. We have those 4 levels of sleep: deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, and then I'm, of course, awake when we have our little times we have to get up and go to the bathroom and stuff. And so because we live and our bodies basically work off of our circadian rhythm, which is, we sleep when the sun is down, and we are awake when the sun comes up. That's just our natural clock. And when we are living outside of that natural circadian rhythm, things get really messed up pretty fast. And so first thing, I work on is trying to make sure that we're trying to work on practices that are going to bring that time back closer to when the sun's coming down. So trying to get winded down by, 9 p.m. at night, asleep by 10, because really the main part, all of those individuals out there that wear watches and rings that are tracking your sleep, trends are very common. Of the first half of the night, you're going to get your deep sleep. You ebb and flow. You want to get 4 to 5 sessions of that deep sleep. And then around 4 hours later, or around 2 a.m. in the morning, it kind of switches gear. And then you start seeing that REM and light sleep kind of ebb and flow out. And that's just our natural sleep pattern. Problem is that when we shift our sleep and we're going to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, we're missing out on a lot of opportunity for deep sleep. And that's really the main time that your body can have rest and recovery, cell cleaning, all the things that need to happen, because the rest of the time we're doing other things. When we're in REM, that's a different sleep. That's a different zone of sleep than deep sleep. So we really want to try to capture as much deep sleep as we can. And as we get older, that already naturally declines with age. And so we're really setting ourselves up for a hard time to feel good and and work on fatigue and feeling good in our bodies during the day, so that we are living off of caffeine.
Absolutely. And actually, I was going to ask you to take that caffeine comment a bit further because I know that you emphasize hydration and, of course, cutting back on caffeine. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the dehydration or overstimulation, the effect on blood sugar, kidney overall health, wherever you want to take us?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, with when it comes to excessive caffeine consumption, of course, it's a mild diuretic, so it's going to make us urinate out our good hydration, which means it's putting more stress on us having to put in more water. And eventually, like it's just the balance is never going to catch up. And so that's one thing is just always being in that dehydrated state. And when you're in a dehydrated state, really puts a lot of stress on the body. If you think about what water does, I know we're all told your body is 70% water. Yeah, I know. But where is that at? Where is the 70% hanging out in? And yes, it's in the cells, it's in the tissue, it's in all the areas, but mainly it's in the circulatory system, in our veins and our arteries. That's our freeway. That's our point A to point B freeway. And if we're not hydrating and keeping that blood nice and watered down, things are not gonna run very smooth. It's gonna be like having, molasses for blood. I here in Arizona, I tell my patients like it's kind of like driving in downtown Phoenix at 5 p.m. 24 hours a day. Nothing's gonna get anywhere very fast. And so that means all of our processes are slowing down. So we're not living at our optimal health when that's happening. On the flip side, when our veins are picking up garbage from our cells and trying to deliver it to the kidneys, um, when you are delivering this thick, goopy blood to your kidneys, you're asking your kidneys to do a lot of work. One example I use for my patients is I use the example of, pretend like you have a filter in front of you and I pour water through the filter. That's going to be like, it's going to go through really easy peasy. But what if I pour honey through a filter? That's not going to be it's not going to go through very easily. So when you're not well hydrating your body, you're putting a lot of stress on kidneys. And I know us as diabetes educators, we can all agree, all patients with diabetes can agree, nobody wants kidney damage. Nobody wants kidney disease. Nobody wants to go on dialysis. So the three things that take out our kidneys: blood pressure, high blood sugar, and dehydration. I'm like, that's the low hanging fruit. That's easy. Drink more water, hydrate your body. The blood pressure and blood sugars, that takes a lot more education, medication, things like that. But we can easily start with just grabbing more water and just hydrating yourself. Um, the other thing with caffeine is that those that have ADHD and anxiety, um, when you're living off of caffeine, the natural process of caffeine raises your heart rate, raises your blood pressure. It can easily throw you into an anxiety episode, which is going to make it much harder for you to keep your mental health stabilized, and as well as your ADHD. I know caffeine works different, and I've had arguments about, well, caffeine doesn't do that to me. It still raises your blood pressure and it still raises your heart rate. It just may do some different things in your brain where it slows down things from that stimulant, but it's still doing all the other damage. It's not like that's null and void because you have ADHD. So we work on those that really have to have some caffeine. We try to transition them, and I know it's not a straight one-to-one transition, but we try to transition them over to green tea versus coffee, energy drinks, sodas, things like that, because at least green tea is giving you some health benefits with the EGCG and the L-theanine, which are calming agents. So you get that little bit of slower release of caffeine that allows you to have that little bit of caffeine, but also calming things down so that we keep that mental health really in check. Because at the end of the day, my goal for my patients is to stabilize their blood sugars, stabilize their mental health, and stabilize their energy. If we get those three in good check, they can be successful in so many areas of their life.
Oh my gosh, and the significant impact on blood sugar too. I think about the world of type 1, that is my specialty, and I think we have a joke that we say. It's a joke, but it feels true sometimes. And it's that, "Oh yeah, the wind shifted a little bit. My blood sugar is probably changing." Or, "Oh yeah, like my left elbow is a little itchy right now. Oh, it's probably blood sugar." And then all of a sudden that has an impact. So everything has an impact, but you're right. These are like tangible things that we could potentially have a really specific amount of control over, and that can really make a difference for our health. And maybe if I can say it like this, you may not notice if it makes a difference on your health, but you'll notice if you go without it, right? You'll notice that
Absolutely.
impact.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes a world of a difference to be intentional. And so that's thank you so much for sharing a little bit more about that. I feel like it really can be something that everyone implements today, right? You can walk away from today and go chug 8 ounces of water. Okay.
Right.
Yep, we wa my sister oh, I actually thought of something else too. My sister-in-law calls me a beverage goblin because I always have, extra options. I have electrolytes, that one was a water, the other one over there was a flavored beverage, we've got apple juice just in case we go low. Beverage goblin is my name around here, but regarding green tea, I have a s I say this and I laugh. I have a serial killer thing to admit. Um, I think that green tea can kinda taste like chocolate if you get a good one. If you get a really nice green tea, I think it can kinda taste like chocolate. Now, so far, none of my relatives or significant other agree with me, but I hold my belief still. So, if you need help transitioning with that caffeine, I challenge you to see if you can find that chocolatey vibe.
Gotcha. Love that. That's awesome.
Yes. Yes, all the little things that add up over time. And so I think the little things add up, but also the big things too. And I know that's something you have done specifically is you have created this fantastic 9-hour diabetes education course that satisfies Medicare's group class requirement. If am I thinking about that right? Tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to create it and what do patients potentially gain?
So, first and foremost, I created it because here in the Valley, most of our diabetes programs have that are recognized by the American Diabetes Association have shut down. There's a few left, but they're dropping like flies. And so when the nearest hospital near where I lived shut down their program in 2021, I was like, all right, it's my calling. I'm doing it. Challenge accepted. I'm gonna call the ADA. I'm gonna find out what I need to do to become an ADA recognized program. Went through the process. I had already been starting to create the content for the course, and with all of this coming into play and just all the stars were aligning, I was like, all right, let's do this. And so learning through different insurance plans, and I came across like, oh, Medicare has this 10-hour one-time benefit that nobody knows about. And it typically the way you use it is you are able to use one of those hours for one-on-one DSMT or diabetes self-management training, and then you have 9 hours that you can utilize for coursework. There are caveats to that when, somebody isn't viable for a group class, but typically that's how that benefit works. And so I utilizing the American Diabetes Association website and the ADCES's website, the 7 self-care behaviors. I spent about 2 years creating content all the way from we start out with what is diabetes, how to monitor your blood sugars. We go into detail on all the diabetes medications, all the cardiovascular medications. It all stands with the ADA standards of care. And then we go through nutrition and physical activity. That's 3 hours of it. And then we roll into all of the micro and macrovascular complications, all the way down to diabetic foot wounds and pictures. It's very thorough. And then we finish off with diabetes distress. That's something that, again, it goes back to my passion for mental health. So many times my patients, or people that refer patients to me, or from what I heard, is when an individual is not well controlled in their A1C and their blood sugars, sometimes they get classified or labeled as non-compliant patients, and which is not always true. Yes, we have our stubborn people that aren't just ready to get on the bandwagon, but 90% of the time, probably higher than that, they're going through diabetes distress. Diabetes is the one disease that you can't just take a day off. You could die. Type 1, you can die. Like, you have to wake up and show up. And that can be exhausting for people. When you're dealing with obesity, you can check out and go have McDonald's. Probably not going to kill you. It's not the best for you, but it's not gonna hurt you to the point of having to go to the hospital. Diabetes is different. And so we spend a lot of time explaining the difference in what depression looks like and what diabetes distress looks like, and understanding that they're not the same. They can't be treated the same. You can't give somebody with diabetes distress antidepressants. They're not depressed. They're burnt out. They're having a burnout moment, and we need to help them through that. That's what us as diabetes educators, endocrinologists, primary care therapists, all of their team, that's where we need to stand up and advocate for them, and really just show them love and help them get back on track. So we really educate with our patients, like, this is not the time to hide in a corner. This is the time to come to us. Like, it's not going to be fun. You don't feel like coming to see us and talk about your diabetes, but that's where we can help get you back on track sooner than later, so that we're not completely undoing that beautiful A1C and blood sugar, and just, hold your hand through the process.
Absolutely. And I think having the right people and having the right providers in your corner is a game changer, even if you don't actively use them all the time, even if you don't actively reach out all the time. When you need them, knowing that they're there really can make a world of a difference, even if sometimes it's just a diabesity to call and you complain about the fact that you're on your third CGM replacement, and then you get to say all the unkind words and then you keep going, and it just helps sometimes. And so for anyone listening, if you are going through burnout right now and you are just like you're on your last thread, then I just want to validate that your emotions are valid. You are worthy of love, support, care, kindness, consideration, and a little bit of a slow down. Take that break. Do what you can for yourself to feel a little better, but connect in with community. Find people, find providers. It does make a difference. It's tough, but so are you.
Exactly. Give yourself a little grace. It's okay.
Absolutely. Or a lot of grace.
You don't always have to be it's not about perfection. It's just about moving forward. One thing I always tell my patients is, like, all I ask is that you wake up in the morning and try. That's all I ask. You're going to have really great days and you'll go to bed thinking, wow, I was a rock star today. That was an amazing day. And some days you're going to be like, well, I probably could have done better. But it's okay. You showed up. You chose to try. If you decide and you roll out of bed and you say, well, I'm not going to try today. Well, you've already decided but that you're not going to give it your all. So that's and that I feel like it gives people an opportunity to just breathe and be like, okay, it's not a perfection. I just got to keep moving forward, and before you know it, you're there. Like, everything looks great, and you're like, wow, your diet's like pretty gosh darn perfect and spot on, and you're doing amazing.
Yeah. And if I may be so bold, I always say progress over perfection, but in the world of type 1 and maybe in just humanity period, I just don't know if this idea of perfection exists. So I want to reiterate, give yourself that grace, give yourself that kindness, and then give yourself some more. Something I talk about a lot with my clients and patients is okay, think about it for just a sec, right? If you have 100% on any given day, you slept well and you are feeling healthy and you are set up for success socially and you've got all the things that you need, that's a 100% day. So if you give 100% on that 100% day, that's 100%, right?
Yeah.
But imagine the day that you're kind of tired and, oh, we don't have much food in the fridge. So we're going to just have this granola bar or something like that. And, oh, shoot, I forgot about this. I got to do that. And, oh my gosh, I don't have time for myself to do this. I'll just have to do it tomorrow. That day, let's call that a 20% day. Call it girl math, but if you give 20% on the 20% day, that's still 100%, okay? And that's where that grace and that kindness comes in. It makes a difference. And
Mhm.
it's that reframe, right? And it's that it's the permission, right? Giving yourself permission to have those moments, to do what you can, and then to keep on moving on.
Exactly. I think that's half the problem. That's half the issue with disorder eating and, body dysmorphia. It's just that perfection, like feeling like, well, if I can't give it all, I'm just not going to do it. Or if I do that, then I need to, body shame myself and shame myself into saying what a bad person I am. It's like, no, you're not a bad person. You like food. We all like food. Like just because you didn't have a perfect meal, which I don't have perfect meals, like I like food just like everybody else. Like, dietitians like to eat too.
That's dietitian approved. We are not the food police. Some people may be, but I don't think you'll find the food police on this podcast
Yeah,
episode. That's for sure.
absolutely not.
Yeah, I love it. And something else that I was thinking about asking you is that with Integra Life, I know that you have group programs and then you also have one-on-one. I feel like that's an awesome way to individualize care. Individualization is key. So, how do you determine what is best for someone and maybe what advantages does one type of care provide over another?
So as far as like group versus one-on-one, my my message is they should do both. If they can and they have the opportunity to do both because the foundation course is not one-on-one. It's just having them understand all of the little things about diabetes so that if at any point in their future they start having kidney problems, they can be like, oh, yeah, I learned that in the course. This is part of what I need to do to stay on track. The one on one is really that's where we're evaluating sleep health and hydration and the distress and looking at their blood sugars. I love working with sleep, but if I have a type 1 or type 2 come in on insulin and they're having hypoglycemia every night and they feel like garbage and they can't get a hold of their doctor and this and that. I'm going to go into like case management mode. I'm like, we got to figure out, we got to stop the hypos. Like, let's work on that because we have to, as diabetes educators, we have to do safety first. So, as much as I would love to get into my hydration and sleep on that visit, it's probably not going to be that visit. It's going to be making sure, like, let's look at your CGM. Let's look at what doses you're on, making sure that we're taking care of that patient, the person in front of us that day and what's going on in their life at that moment because they don't feel good if their blood sugars are dropping and all over the place and we all know the roller coaster, the dropping down low cuz you took too much insulin, then you're panic drinking and eating carbs and now you're back at 300 so then now you're like giving yourself extra insulin and it's like again, stop the madness. Like, let's just take it down a notch and let's evaluate what we need to do because that's not healthy for anybody to go through those highs and lows and all over the place. But yeah, so we do. I had one patient that went through our foundational course. He had type 1 for 60 years and he walked away learning something. So it doesn't matter if you've had it for a week or 60 years, you will learn from a course that's just teaching you about understanding diabetes. And, everybody should at least have a basic understanding of their diabetes. Cause my big thing is like, I want to put my patients back in the driver's seat of their health. When they go to the doctor, and I respect all of our endocrinologists, and they have a hard job and it's demanding, short staff. And I'm your team member. Like, I'm here to help your patient be successful. And I want to help them walk into that office and not be deer in the headlights. And like, here, let me start you on a med, but I got to get to my next patient. So just take the med and we'll see how you do. Then they refer them to me, and we have several endocrinologists in the Phoenix Valley that refer to our office, and then we do the teaching. We're like, okay, you know what? Your doctor wants you to be on metformin because it helps to improve insulin sensitivity. Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I should start taking it. So it's like, that's what we are, as the educators. We do the educating. They do the prescribing and the monitoring, but we do the educating on the lab results and the medications, and making sure that they understand the why behind what they're doing with their health.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, and if you understand what's going on, it can make a difference. And what you said too, even with regard to like hypoglycemia during sleep, hypoglycemia is absolutely, you're right. For safety purposes, we have to address that first. But also, if that's why you're waking up at night, it might be a little two for one action. I know that there's more we can do about sleep quality always, but that's a really great way to think about it. If you're thinking about, especially the burnout conversation, it's like, oh, I have to fix my sleep, I have to fix my blood sugar, I have to. Well, can you find the lowest hanging fruit? Do one, it benefits three. If yeah,
Yeah.
great, great. I love to think that way because then it makes it feel a little bit more manageable,
Exactly.
and it's not perfect anyways, but we're gonna progress.
Yeah.
So, and out of curiosity, something that I always love to chat about is anything like coming up. So innovation or updates or anything in the world of diabetes. Is there anything that you're excited to see happening in the hopefully near future?
I mean, I love that. Okay, just a little. I don't know if I should say branding, but I'll just say, without branding anything. I'm really excited to see that there is a pump company that is partnering up with a implantable CGM, because I think that implantable CGM has just not really gotten to play with the big boys. And so it's exciting. That's really exciting that a company finally said, "Hey, this is," because there are people that don't tolerate, you know, the the um uh the other CGMs that we wear, typically on our arm, and or they have an allergy, or they have sensitive skin, or I have people that have like even like really moist, like oily skin. Like, I wish I had really nice oily skin, but like some that they fall off. I've had several people, they're like, I've tried everything, we adhesive it, and it still falls off at day 3. And it's like, okay, you're just not a good candidate for a CGM. And I love all my companies. I got amazing support here in the Valley by all our CGM reps and all our pump reps. So I love them all. And what I like about our clinic is that we represent them all. We're not siloed into like, I like this pump, I like this CGM, and nobody else matters. We have displays of every pump in our office. People will come in for an appointment, and it's like, can we just go through the pump options so that when I go to my endocrinologist, I know which pump I but and I can advocate for myself that this is the pump that works best for me, versus being told you're going to use this pump, or this is the pump I want you to use, again, putting that patient back in the driver's seat. So I like that. But up and coming, oh, that's tough. I mean, I know the aid thing is big with all of our new delivery systems. I think type 1 is finally getting recognized a little bit more mainstream, and so I love that. LADA, I mean, I've seen so many more people that are being diagnosed, and And also the auto antibody testing is becoming more prominent. Like, let's do this earlier and let's find out, are you turning into having autoimmune type of diabetes? Like, I think things are starting to come along to where we are identifying and not just saying, well, they're type 1 or type 2. I'm like, oh, let's do some lab work, that will
Yeah. And with accuracy too, that's exciting. I know so many of my LADA patients have been misdiagnosed for years and then they realize they're LADA. I'm like, okay, well, we do what we can.
why things were odd.
Yeah, no wonder it wasn't working. So, by the way, just a quick little plug, if you feel like the system you've been giving isn't working for you, question it. Question it, ask questions, ask your providers, ask us, and if there's something that we can do to help you figure it out, we will. So I want to make sure that everyone knows where to find you or maybe to find more info about Integra Life. What would you like everyone to know?
Yeah, so we have our website. It's www.integralifeaz.com. You can do our office email, office@integralifeaz.com. We have Instagram and Facebook. They're both just Integra Life AZ. So we keep everything really consistent. You can call our number 480-266-4122. I get phone calls straight to my cell phone. I also have staff that answer the phone, but if I see something that I need to take care of, the owner sometimes answers the phone and takes care of it herself. I'm hands-on. We do it all together as a team, and any type of questions you have or want to know if we're the right fit, give us a call. We'll figure it out. I have lots of different we have all seasoned dietitians. Everyone is over 10 years of experience, and we have people that specialize in oncology, eating disorders, PCOS. We have a team of functional dietitians. So we take the person and we treat them what's best for them, and what route of care they want to move forward with. We have lots of type 2 or pre-diabetes. They're like, I don't want to start metformin yet. And it's like, that's fine. Well, that if you're not going to start that right now and your doctor's okay with not starting it, then let's work on a more natural approach and let's see if it works. Let's give it 3 to 6 months. If it doesn't, then we may be coming back around to rediscussing medication options, because of course we want to make sure that we're reducing risk of any complications and moving into that type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. I love it. And we will absolutely make sure to have all of those details in the show notes as well. So thank you for verbalizing that. For everyone listening slash watching, you do not have to do this alone. We are here for you. This is what we do all day, every day, and we love it. So please take us up on us helping you. It makes a difference. It really does.
And for those that need to go through insurance, most people that want to see a dietitian, it's usually under preventative benefits at 100% covered unlimited visits. Is it every insurance plan? No. But that is the typical. And so there's no loss. You're just educating yourself. You get to work with a dietitian. We become really close with our patients, and they open up to us, and we create a beautiful relationship on making sure that they know they have somebody that's in their corner at all times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're in your corner. And so, Tina, thank you so much for today. This was awesome. And for those listening, definitely check out the show notes and grab more info.
Thank you.
That's it for today, my friends, but the fun doesn't stop here. If you liked this episode and want more real talk diabetes support, come hang out with me on social. Just search Type 1 Type Fun, all words, or head to type1typefun.com for tools, tips, freebies, and real-life resources you can actually use. And if this episode made you laugh, learn, or feel a little more seen, feel free to leave a comment, give it a like, share it with someone you love. But until next time, live empowered, be silly, have fun, and eat some carbs.
The information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you heard on this podcast.